Jerusalem, the single most important city on the planet. It doesn't really matter if you believe in what went on here, but the religious events that took place and the historical and political fallouts of such shaped pretty much all of the world into what we know it as today. So I'm going to find a good spot and I'm going to show you why. So firstly, it's worth mentioning that Jerusalem, since existing, has been attacked 52 times, it's been besieged 23 times, and it's been captured and recaptured on 44 separate occasions because of the conflict between what actually happened here. It has since been split into 4 quarters. We have the Christian quarter there, then we have the Armenian quarter, which is also Christian, then we've got the Jewish quarter that side, and then over there you've got the Muslim quarter. I am literally stood in the centre of those 4 quarters. Anyway, that's significant because it signifies the diversity of the place, its people and its beliefs, but that is not the most important thing about this spot. Most important thing is how much important stuff religiously you can see from standing just here. So first of all, you have in the background the whole mountainside thing. That is the Mount of Olives on the east side of Jerusalem, and that is where Jesus found out he had been betrayed. It's where he was picked up by the guards when Judas brought him to him, and it's where he later rose to heaven. The tallest tower over there somewhere is the spot from which it is believed Jesus rose to heaven, and therefore where he will return to on his second coming. Second, we have that golden dome. That is called the Dome of the Rock, and it is built on the Temple Mount. Now it's so called because it's a dome built on top of a rock, but the significance of that rock varies from religion to religion. So the Jews believe that is the rock from which the whole earth was created, and the Muslims believe that is the exact spot from which Muhammad ascended to heaven on his winged horse, Burak. That's significant because it is the most sacred site in Judaism, because where the earth was created from, and it is the 3rd holiest site in Islam, and was actually the first direction of prayer for Muslims back in the 7th century when Islam became a thing. And because it's important to Jews and Jesus was a Jew, it's also hugely important to Christians because that's the temple in which Jesus went to pray with all his mates. So that's significant to all 3 religions and is hotly debated regularly. And then if we turn just 90 degrees, you can see behind me the 2 blue domes, not the big tower, the 2 blue domes. They are the roofs of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and that is believed to be the most important site for Christians because everyone in Christianity believes that's the spot where Jesus was crucified, put to death, put in the tomb, and then later resurrected. And that was built on top of it to commemorate it. We can actually try and get inside that. That is accessible. The Temple Mount, however, the reason I've shown you from here is because that is closed and it's got stupid opening hours. We can't actually go and see that up close. So this is the best spot for it. Anyway, all of that just goes to say that within a single eyeful, it's possible to appreciate most of what's vital to the 3 major monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And therefore the bedrock on which all of the Western world and most of the Eastern or Near Eastern world was built. So literally everything you know is because of something you can see within that one panoramic view. And that's why that spot is dead fucking important. And now we're going to go have a close-up look at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the place where Christians believe Jesus was crucified. But we're going to get there the same way that he did. We're going to take the same route as Jesus did between the moments of being condemned to death and having to carry his own cross all the way to the spot where he was nailed to it. So let's do that. Alright, so this is where it all began pretty much for him. This is not where he was condemned, that was across the street over there somewhere, but this is a site built on where he was given the cross to start carrying. This is called the Sanctuary of the Flagellation, and this is where the journey began. Then he had quite a way to walk. He had to walk all the way down this street. I don't think that would have been here. He famously fell 3 times during his walk. First was here, and then just here is where his mum came to meet him. There is now a church on top of it, and it's called Church of the St. Mary of Agony. And then when he got to this corner, this is where Simon was made to help him carry the cross, and they built another chapel thing about that. When he finally got to the top of this long hill, he got to this spot where he said he fell for a second time, and this is what the inside of this one looks like. After famously falling for the 3rd and final time down here, He's finally made it to the end of his winding uphill struggle to the final spot. And yeah, this spot, which is now the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, is indeed where the magic happened. Quite literally. This is where he was crucified, died, buried and resurrected before going back to heaven on the Mount of Olives. Of course, the church wasn't here before, it's been built since on the site of it all, so it might not look quite like this, but let's go have a wander in. After finally dying on the cross, he was taken off, his body was anointed on a table, which actually is this one, and then he was taken through to where his tomb would be. And in here we have what the Christians consider to be the final resting place of Jesus Christ on earth before going to heaven. This is of course not the original. The original thing built over his old tomb was destroyed 1,000 years ago, but this is built in the exact same spot, and in fact the original tomb is still thought to be under there a bit, and this is the place where Jesus was put to rest in that tomb. There was a stone rolled over the entrance so he couldn't escape, just in case he was the Son of God, and he still managed to escape. Then if you come and look at the back, you can see that even Jesus Christ was an England fan. Actually, that's probably quite distasteful, isn't it? Soz. It was upstairs in the church, but at this exact spot it said he was crucified, and that was about that. So there you have it, the physical foundations of Christianity. So if you're Christian, that's where it all began. If you're not Christian, you're not atheistic, you still can't deny the fact that this had a huge impact on you, because if you're from a fundamentally Christian country like England or America or something, most of your laws were based on religion anyway. How you came to be is very much to do with the religious stuff that's happened in the world today. And anyway, apart from that bit, 2.2 billion of the people in the world are Christians, so it'd be impossible not to be affected by one of them. Anyway, yeah, this is what I meant when I said earlier that it doesn't make a difference if you don't believe in any of this, because it still had just as much of an impact on you as if you did believe in it. And it's brilliant to be able to see where it all literally started. Alright, so we're now in the Jewish quarter, and right here is another of the super important things for Judaism. This is the Western Wall. This is the spot that Jews direct their prayer to, and that's because it's the closest spot to the original temple that Solomon built, and therefore the original spot where the Ten Commandments were. It's the bit you've probably seen where people put little notes in the wall in the gaps to send messages to God and that kind of thing. So that's that. Slightly controversially though, this is also claimed by the Muslims. This is where it is said that the Prophet Muhammad tied his winged horse Barak to, the one that he then flew to heaven. But overall, this is the Jewish area, and it's far more important to the Jews than it is to the Muslims. And from here you can see some of the many notes written to God stuffed in the cracks in the wall. And then up here is the bridge. This bridge takes you to the top of the Temple Mount, which is where I pointed out earlier is all that other important stuff that we can't get to because they've got stupid opening times. But yeah, the bridge is here and the Western Wall is a part of it. So this bit of Jerusalem is super important for the Jews. I've ended up in some tunnel thing. I've got no idea what it is, but it's probably got vast historical importance. Can I go down here? Well, I am doing it. According to this sign, we're looking at Hasmonean city walls. Good. I guess that's that. Kind of feel like I'm in some underground Jewish lair. But yeah, you can do this in Jerusalem, whatever this is. Right, so it must be important because a ton of Asian tourists just turned up, and as we all know, Asian tourists, they know what's good in a place. And over here we've also got loads of colourful mosaic stuff all the way down here. But luckily for you lot, I have got literally no idea what any of it is, so I can't ramble on about it for 6 hours. Probably quite interesting though. So, what else is there to be doing in the old city of Jerusalem? Well, apart from sightseeing, like religious and historical stuff, not an awful lot. There's of course like markets, but it's worth bearing in mind the markets are mostly run by the Arabs, which means two things. One, within 3 stalls you'll be able to buy some underwear, a solid gold watch and a raw chicken. Not even a skinned one, just a dead chicken. And secondly, the Arabs are, of course, how to put this, they're very keen salesmen, and as soon as they get their salesman-y claws into you, you're not going anywhere without spending a fortune. It's worth keeping that in mind. There's also loads of local food places. It's quite an interesting mix of people, so they've got loads of interesting cuisine to go along with it. So I have, in the spirit of things, as a cultural mastermind, opted for fat bag of sweets for £1. So, a couple of bits of advice if you're considering Jerusalem. Firstly, bear in mind that it is really, really hot. And I know that sounds weird to say because I've been in the jacket all day, but I've been fucking melting. I got burnt yesterday when I fell asleep on the beach. I'm quite pink and I've got no sun cream, so I've had to cover up. And I've been, well, it's been a moist day, we'll put it like that. But saying that, when you are amidst the streets or in the markets and stuff, there is loads of shade, so you're not going to die, even if you are very susceptible to dying. Another subject worth giving some advice about, how long should you stay for? Well, I've spent a day here, a short day actually, woke up late, and I've seen a lot of the important stuff, but I've not seen all of it. I'd recommend staying for 2 days. I can't imagine there's much to do for the third one, unless you want to take it incredibly slowly. That 2 days means 2 full days sightseeing. Jerusalem is actually a really good hub for like day trips to places, even Tel Aviv or into Bethlehem and Palestine and stuff. So you can stay here for quite a few nights and just do day trips to places, but the city itself, 2 days I think is plenty. Anyway, as you can probably see, the day's about to end away. It's about night time. I'm off to bed. Seen plenty, walked a lot, so yeah, I'm done. Tomorrow, wake up, I'm going to go to Bethlehem in Palestine. I'm going to cross into Palestine, go there for the morning, and then maybe go south to a city called Hebron. I'm not really sure how possible that's going to be because it's much more conflicted than other areas nearby, but fuck it, we'll see. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed Jerusalem. They're a good place, worth a visit. So yeah, I'm off. Cheers boys, see you in a bit.